Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Easy Does It, a podcast created specifically for the amazing members of the MJ team. Rob and I are back with you again, excited for another great episode. Our topic today, one of my favorite things, is curiosity, but not just curiosity, but as a daily practice. I think that most people, I think that some people are naturally more curious than others. But what I have learned from looking at this is that everyone can cultivate kind of their sense of curiosity.
Yeah.
So I'll be curious what you have to say about that. But first, please tell me what would you rather you have for me today.
Here we go. So, would you rather open a door that everyone warns you never to touch, or live your whole life wondering what was behind it?
Well, I am a rule follower, so I'm pretty sure I'm not opening that door. What if there's something terrible behind it?
What if there's something great behind it? It could be like $1 billion stacked up in ones, and it'd be big as a house. That could be you, dog.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
I could never. What was the first part?
So would you rather open a door that everyone tells you never to touch, or be wondering what's behind it for the rest of your life?
The rest of my life is a long time, I hope. That would be really tough for me.
I mean,
not a risky type of girl.
Behind
What if there's a zombie back there?
There could be. I was going to say there could be a gigantic ocean with an inflatable, and we go right back to, do you want to live on the island or the boat? It
Terrible.
Could be the boat.
Can I close the door back?
Nope.
So that you didn't put that part in there.
It is now. That's what was behind the door.
So you have to walk through it. You have to accept.
It just says open it. It just says open it, Meredith.
If I can open it and close it, then I'm game. But what if it is a zombie or a snake
or $1 million?
Yeah.
It is funny how our minds go to the negative first. Like, this could be bad. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like risk aversion.
Yeah. Self-preservation.
But it could be good. You never know.
It could.
I thought this was befitting of our talk of curiosity today. So that's why I threw this one in there.
Yeah. I think my life is a long time to wait to see what's behind the door. So maybe I would, after I thought about it for a long time.
Dude, that's what I'm talking about.
Maybe I would open it. It's funny. I was teaching First Break All the Rules yesterday, and we're leaving to go to Aruba.
You're doing it.
Yes, on Sunday.
Yeah.
I can't wait. But everybody in the class, since this is how well people know me, they were like, you have to do just one thing. You just get down there, and it's like, don't plan it. Don't think about it. It's just like, do it. I don't know if that's going to happen or not.
What are you going to do?
I don't know. I'm not supposed to plan it. We have talked about parasailing.
That would be fun. Is that something that you would not do?
I have done it before in my life. As I get older, I start to think of all the things. Okay, what if a shark jumps out and chomps my leg?
You like 300 feet in the air, Meredith? I think you'll be all right. Listen to acrobatic shark or something. I don't know. He's got jetpacks on his back.
So I am a little bit risk averse.
Yeah. So I agree with you in that fact, because me and Susie, we went somewhere and we could see people out in the ocean. It was probably at the beach. And the parasailing, that's the one that you're sitting in the seat and you're on the parachute and they're pulling you behind the boat. I'm watching that and I'm like, oh, that looks like fun. And then I'm looking and I'm like, they're really high up, really high up. And then I saw a video of someone and they had their little GoPro or whatever, and they were just showing as they go up. I'm like, you way up there, man. And then the boat, the strap snapped, and the person just kind of like floats back to the ocean. And I'm like, here comes a shark. You're toast. You want to go parasailing when you go there?
No, I don't know if I want to go.
She's like, I'm changing my choice now.
I don't know if I want to go, but
you should do something that would be fun, like something that would be outside your wheelhouse. I think that'd be a good time.
I'll report back.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I know what you would do.
Well, I have to admit, there's something that I was pushing you hard to do before, and then I followed in your footsteps. So for our audience out there, I don't remember what episode it was, but we were talking about Dollywood, and I'm like, you have got to go right. And she was planning to go left. And I got there and it made sense to go left, so we went left.
Thank you.
It made perfect sense. All the good rides were to the left,
right.
and then the after stuff, like you can go look at the Bald Eagles, which was really cool. And there's a lady playing good old gospel music at the little mini church they have. And
that's why you follow a plan.
Yeah. Well, my plan could have been to go right, but the plan made sense to go left. So I apologize.
Okay.
I think okay. I think that I would probably open the door.
That's
and
just
just
what I would have guessed. 1,000%.
Deal with the consequences. Deal with the consequence. You know?
Well, because you're not that afraid of a zombie.
But it could be anything. Who knows what it is? It could be a giant mound of snakes. I don't know. It could be bad, but it could be good. You never know.
You have to know. Maybe I could just peek.
I truly think that earlier in my life, I was much more like, I'm not going to do that. I'll just deal with it. What I know is better than what I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think I've been thrust into so many situations where I'm like, I just got to figure it out. Mm-hmm. And now I'm like, all right, I can do that.
Yeah.
I'm not like a Mark Cagle. Mark Cagle's like,
open it.
Boom. You just kick that thing wide
Yes.
open. So I don't know if I'm going to do that.
Yeah, no.
I won't kick it wide open. I'll open it up.
Yeah. Okay. I will open it.
I'm proud of you. This is a big growing moment.
I know, it is.
That leads right into curiosity.
That's
today.
right.
What's
Actually,
behind the
don't
door?
put me in the actual situation and test this out. But sitting here, I think I could do it.
This gives me ideas.
I will peek in there and then,
Okay.
close it back.
All right. So we're talking about curiosity today.
Yes.
So I was telling Meredith I went a different path. I did want to start with just like what is curiosity as a whole, but then how does this even benefit us? Because I think every single one of these episodes that we talk about, it's like, what is it, but how does it benefit? Mm-hmm. And even in this today, curiosity on its face just sounds like, okay, just be curious. Cool.
Yep.
But the benefit there, I didn't recognize like how many, number one, health benefits there are, like life quality. I think I've had more conversations with people of late that just don't know what they want in their life, or they're just going through the motions and they're just like, yeah, I'm just doing my thing, waiting for retirement, or I'm just doing my thing. I'm waiting for my kids to, get out of ball, or I'm waiting for them to graduate and then I can start my life. Or they just feel like they're not going anywhere. I'm like, man, there's so much stuff around us all the time that is just right there in front of us that we're just missing. It's already there, that can impact your life and make your life better. So curiosity can really help out with a lot of that stuff. So that was one of the impacts I saw. I was like, well, so what,
Yeah, I agree. I think to me, this kind of reminded me of what we've talked about gratitude. Mm-hmm. It's like, you don't recognize the impact that having a practice of gratitude can have on your life. I kind of put this in that same category. I don't think you can quite recognize how it can open your mind, how it can deepen your relationships. I don't think you can quite know how having a practice of curiosity could benefit you until you start doing it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why both of them are called a practice. Because just like anything else, you have to do it often. We are getting ready to get up on Thanksgiving here. This is not the only time of year that we should be thinking about what we're thankful for and what we're grateful for. We have to practice gratitude. I think curiosity is the same thing. Mm-hmm. You have to make a legitimate choice to be curious about what's around you every day, especially if that's not your natural tendency. Mm-hmm. Like I think that I am a naturally curious person because I like to learn things. So like if I'm wondering, like I said, we're going to Aruba and I'm like, oh, let me see how big is the island? And like one side is really tropical. The other side is kind of like desert, like deserty. Is that a word? Rocky, windy, big like crashing waves on the shore. I want to know those things because I'm just curious. But I think that even that part of me that's a little bit different than just being curious about the day to day.
What makes you say that's different?
Like to me, that like learning about Aruba, that does come from my place of curiosity, but that's like for the sake of learning. Which I think is a benefit of being curious. But I think that's a little bit different in like when I meet somebody new and I'm trying to work on my relationship with them, coming from a place of curiosity. Or if I'm in the middle of a conflict or something happens at work or at home, and instead of jumping to conclusions, I come from a place of curiosity. Those things feel a little bit different than like Googling Aruba or looking up at an encyclopedia, as I think you've suggested that I do. But I think they come from the same place, but they're a little bit different. I'm not sure how those facts about Aruba are going to benefit me in the long run.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. Think about it though.
How dare you?
This is my world. You're living in it. No, I truly think that they do come from the same place. And if you go to curiosity as a whole, all of those things stem from that. Now, what do you do with that stuff and for what purpose? I 100% agree. But I think if you go back to each and every single thing, if you go back to the podcast that we had with Corey, and he's talking about how like art is everywhere, if you choose to see it. And I think I remember we were even just talking about like the outlets on the wall. It was what was right in front of me. But it's like, who decided the curves and what edges they would make in this and why? Or you think about like even a design of a car. Like there is true art in that. There's people that have to design that. That's probably on the medium extreme. And then we just went to Chicago recently and we did a little boat tour, which was cool. The weather, it was 68 degrees outside.
Beautiful.
In Chicago. I was shocked. And the guy was really funny. He says, I just want to let you guys know, if you've never been to Chicago, the weather is like this 99% of the time. It doesn't change anywhere from this at all. And everybody's like looking at him. And of course, some people believe, most people didn't, of course, this is absolutely abstract and strange. But he was just talking about the buildings. There's so many different building types that are there. And it's true artistry. And he's just talking about the different times, like the 1930s and the 60s when this stuff would change. There's art everywhere. But I feel like if you take the same approach, if you choose the practice of taking the same approach that all things, if you have curiosity, you can dive so deep, whether it be in relationships or learning. I'm going on a trip. Why is one side desert and one side's not? Like, how did that happen?
No, that's crazy.
So I feel like everything can be enriched if you approach it with curiosity. What you do with that, of course, is up to the individual. But I feel like life becomes so much more vibrant if you truly take the curiosity approach and not just assume that you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I read about that. They called it a beginner's mind, like a beginner's mindset, and kind of looking at everything or asking questions as if you don't already know or you don't already know the answer. So I loved that idea of a beginner's mindset because it does put you in the right place of being able to ask questions. I think about, when Rachel's teaching Build a Plumber or Darren's teaching Tech Builder, Darren knows and Rachel knows they have the plumbing knowledge to be able to navigate everything that their students are doing, but that they don't jump in and do it. They ask questions. They enter from a beginner's mindset. Does that make sense? Like if you're working on a piece of equipment and Darren's helping you, okay, what does that tell us about that? How do we know what to do next? It's like he's coming from a place of, I don't know anything. Let me use my questions to help guide this person through it. That's kind of what it makes me think of, is going back to a place where pretend like you don't know and ask questions that would help you get there.
Yeah.
So I think that it helps us to kind of, and I also think too, I read about this and I would love to hear what you think about this. I wonder, actually, I feel like I already know kind of where I stand on this, but I wonder if this act or idea of curiosity is fading. I don't know if that's the right word, because we have so much information at our fingertips now. Like I was reading an article and it was talking about how, like, for our parents, if you were curious about something, like you had to go back to the encyclopedia, like you had to go touch it, see it, like watch it in action, work with it, read about it, go to the library, find the books. It's different. It's just so different than how it is now. And so I wonder what your thoughts are. Like, I do feel like at this day and age, we have to maybe make more of a conscious choice to come from a place of curiosity, maybe, because of the information the digital age has put just at a moment's notice for us.
I definitely feel like the amount of knowledge that we have at our fingertips can rob away some of the specialness of curiosity because I can find out in 2 seconds. And I do oftentimes. The kids will ask me questions. Hey, Daddy, what's this? And so I'll just be like, all right. And I'll just
Hey, Siri.
consult Siri. And it is so nice having that information. But what did we do before? It's like, I don't know. Where's the dictionary? Or by the way, when we were in Chicago, I took a picture for you. I didn't send it to you yet. There is a building called the Britannica Building. And I was like, there's Meredith right there. You had to go consult the Encyclopedia Britannica to figure out the information. And it's like, oh, here it is. And that journey to get there, you end up finding more things. And so I think there's benefit because you get the direct answer oftentimes. And that's all when you use something like Siri or you just ask a direct question. But the quest to get there, I think, is where people's minds can expand in what we used to do before. So unless I think it forces you to really be disciplined in using the skill set of curiosity to get there. Like if I just get a direct answer and I don't go anything past that, okay, I got my answer. But if I search for it and research, I end up finding way more. And then it's like, oh, I wonder why. You did some research with Aruba already and finding out the other side. I wonder how you got there. Where's the resort at? It's on this side. Perfect. Versus what does the island look like? That's a different question.
Yeah. I think I like the idea of like the journey feels maybe a little less satisfying. I don't know. And maybe, I guess, as I'm sitting here, maybe I'm being cynical. I think I guess you could look at it from the other side and say maybe people now are more curious potentially because the information is so accessible. Maybe before you had to be, you must have to really want to know if you were going to go to the library, get a book, find the encyclopedia, like all these things. So it could be that the opposite of that could potentially be true too. Maybe because there's so much information at our fingertips, maybe we ask more questions of Siri or Alexa or whoever than we have before. I guess maybe that's also a positive thing that could come from the information that we have at our fingertips. It also makes me think of, which I also read in the same article, was how things change for us from when we were children until now adults. This idea of curiosity as a child, I think, is fascinating to me. I mean, if you watch a child pick up a leaf outside or play with a box, or I mean, it's just like, or they pick a flower and they're just like looking at every single aspect of it. Like, how does it feel? What are the colors? There's this just innate piece of us when we are children to be so curious. And I think as we get older, I don't know that we lose it. I don't know that we lose it. I do think being curious, wanting to know more about you is part of human nature. I might just be making that up because I want that to be true. But I do think as we get older, something gets in the way.
And is there a certain age that stands out in your mind? I mean, I know you worked with kids a lot. We have kids. Do you feel like there's a age when that happens or a time period?
It's probably middle school. Everything happens. Everything happens in middle school.
I believe that. We're right on the edge there.
Yeah, I think because I think this kind of goes back to this. I wrote down some of the common barriers of being curious are a fear of judgment, comfort and certainty. So I think those two things kind of start to take a shift in those middle school years. I would say, 11, 12, 13, that age range probably. I taught third grade, so I had 8-year-olds about, that was the majority of my teaching career, and 8-year-olds are still curious. So I think it happens after that. My guess is it's when we start to kind of wonder, is this weird that I'm so curious? Is this weird that I ask questions about everything? And then you kind of don't want to stand out necessarily. So this idea of certainty becomes more important, maybe at that age in life. So I think there is something about that piece that kind of starts to play a role there. Yeah. And then I think as we get older, in our situation now as adults, I think it just becomes a matter of life. I would love to sit down and just learn every single thing there is to learn about Aruba, because that appeals to me. I ain't got time for that right now. It's like between the packing.
You got a lot going on right now.
Don't test me, Rob. So this,
y'all, I asked Meredith right before we walked in there, I'm like, you got anything going on? Are you even doing anything right now? The look she gave me, I said, she about to kill me. It's been a little busy for all of us right now. So I get it's like, this is my natural tendency, but then it's like, the time does not permit.
Yeah. So I do think as adults, it's like it wanes in childhood. And then I think as adults, we just have all the things of life start to kind of push in. And it's, maybe that's an excuse, but I do think that is one thing that happens. I think we are naturally curious when we are born. I think humans are naturally curious. I think we had to be that way. Evolution, you couldn't survive without being curious about your surroundings, about what was going on around you. So I just think that as we get older, it just becomes less of a habit or a necessity. Maybe it gets pushed to the wayside because other things feel more important or urgent.
Yeah. Looking at kids, I would agree. It probably happens around middle school. I would agree with that statement. I'm starting to see some of the little signs for Charlie. When we were in Chicago, we went to Sephora. We had just a little bit of time. We walked in there. That place is like the burning gates of hell for me. I walked in. It's packed full of people. It smells interesting. And then, so it's me, Jack, Charlie, and Susie. And I walked about halfway through. The line is just weaving back and forth through all these different shelves and crap. And I'm like, kill me. And I'm like, I'm just going to go sit over here in the window. So I go find me a little seat off to the corner. 30 seconds later, Jack's like, I'm sitting with you. I'm like, smart man, this is our spot, son. You've figured it out. This is where the men sit. And so I'm sitting over there with him, and I'm just looking at all this. And Susie comes back with Charlie, and she's like, okay, she got what she wanted. She got some lip gloss or whatever. And so we go back to the room, and Charlie's like, my lips burn. And I'm like, what did you get? And she's like, I got this lip gloss, and it's supposed to like make your lips shiny and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, my lips are burning. I'm like, I'm surprised I even came up with this. I'm like, did you get lip plumper? I'm like, is that a thing? She goes, what is that? I'm like, it sounds like that's what you got. It's supposed to make your lips bigger, I guess, and shiny, which is why are you doing that? I'm like, what did you get? And she's like, I don't know, but they burn. And she's like wiping it off. And I'm like, the price you pay. And Susie's like, you used to get Laneige, and then now you got this brand, and now it's this brand. Now it's this one. She's like, are we on the right one now? And she's like, yeah, I think so. And I'm thinking in my mind, like keeping up with the Joneses, keeping up with what's happening. So I almost feel like childhood, our kids are born and we have them on land, and we're just trying to show them the flowers and like experience this is life. Like, this is what it looks like. And we're like right on the edge of a river, and people are rolling by, they're rowing by. And like, that is where life happens, where you have to get in the stream and the stuff on shore doesn't matter anymore. Mm-hmm. And you got to learn how to row. And I think you're learning from other people, and you learn from your parents, but you're kind of in your own boat, but you're close by. And then that's when kids start to recognize there are other people in the world, and you want to be cool and fit in and not be the weird one still on shore, or looking at the oars or looking at your boat, you got to pay attention to what's coming because this is what you're supposed to do. And I think in middle school, I would agree that's the age where it matters if you're fitting in or not. And you want to be cool. I think there is cool stuff that just naturally is really neat as you get older, but you have to be careful to not have your head down so much and still be able to look around it and enjoy. And like you said, with gratitude, that there is still beautiful stuff all around you that you just forget. Like people forget that the shore's still there. Like you can always get off at any point and just chill, hang back. It makes me curious, and I'm curious your thoughts on this. What people, or even kids and adults as they get older, what people look like when they choose to stay on shore or choose to still appreciate curiosity? Is that an okay thing? And like, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I hope it's okay because I still feel like I am a curious person. Do I bring curiosity to every part of my life? Not as much as I could. I think that there are so many benefits to continuing to be curious throughout your whole life, to teach your kids to be curious. Like if the girls ask something now, I do find myself trying to say, I don't know, why don't you ask Siri? Or why don't look it up, see what you can find. And because they asked the other day, is there parasailing? Do they do parasailing in Aruba? And instead of just saying yes, because I know the answer, then I might say, I don't know, look it up and see. It's that kind of thing. So because what I would like for them to do when they look it up is see, like, what do the pictures look like? What's the shore going to look like from the boat and from being up so high? Because I think that, well, for me, it heightens my anxiety, but for them, it's like, oh my God, so cool. So I think that there is something about kind of instilling that in our kids, but I think you have to be doing that first. I don't think I could say that to them if I wasn't already practicing that myself.
Yeah.
And so I think that I think that there is so many things that continuing to be curious, it doesn't just benefit us, it can benefit our kids and the people around us. I feel like some of the things that I wrote down, obviously it enhances your learning, it enhances your creativity, it enhances your relationships. I don't know, it feels like there's lots of possibilities. When you're curious about the things around you. I think one of the biggest things for me is not assuming that I know why something happened or why someone did what they did, especially my children. Instead of assuming or thinking that I know, asking, because it feels so much.
That's so hard to do when you're in the moment.
Oh, yes.
Why did you do that?
It feels so much different to someone for you to say, like, I saw this is what happened. Can you explain to me why it went this way? That instead of me just being like, yep, well, I already know. Leah's got missing assignments. She would just hate it if she knew right now that I was talking about this. Leah's got some missing assignments. She's on her phone too long. She's not paying attention. She don't care about school. I mean, it's like she's more important with her friends. Blah, blah. I've already decided. I hadn't asked her one single question. And guess who's the one missing the assignments? Her, not me. But I've already decided that I know all the answers. So it feels completely different to come to someone and say, hey, what I notice here is that you got some missing assignments. What's going on with that? Can you help me understand? That feels so different than you're on your phone. It just is, and that in of itself helps me listen to her. It shows that I'm interested in what she has going on, and it helps to build our relationship. Now, do I think that that's realistic to do that every single time with your children? No, I do not. Please hear me clearly say that is not how every conversation goes in the Cabana household. I do think that can be a really powerful thing in the workplace, being able to have those conversations with your colleagues about why something went the way that it did. I think that can really start to, like Brene says, I think that can start to put marbles in the jar, right? So she talks about the marble jar, and every time we do something for someone, or we ask them a question, or we get to know them better, we're curious about them as a person or their work, we put marbles in that jar, and marbles and marbles and marbles in that jar. And so when that jar starts to get full, we start to really build relationship with that person, trust with that person. Then if something goes wrong, we've got a whole jar full of marbles to fall back on.
Yeah.
So I do think that being curious can strengthen the relationship in that way, because you're approaching things with the Gottmans. They're another researcher. They do a lot of work with couples. They call it a gentle startup.
Sounds like something my mower would have a feature. No priming necessary.
Yep.
I hope they're not listening to this right now.
Yeah, a gentle startup as opposed to a harsh startup. So a harsh startup would obviously be me accusing Leah of all of these things. A gentle startup would be, hey, this is what's happening. Can you help me understand? I think that is a piece of building those marbles in that jar, that trust that the relationship is then built on.
Yeah. My mind went to thinking about, when it comes to curiosity, never assuming you know. So help me understand, because there could be a lot of things that are going on that you're just unaware of. And I hate when I feel like I know the answer, and then I ask, or we get to the point, I'm like, crap, if I'd known that, I would have never said that. I think on the Wisdom of a Wrench podcast, he talks about the black swan, the thing that if I had known this before, it would have changed everything. And so even with this, for our techs out there, when you're thinking about a customer and they say that I need to think about it for whatever recommendation you have, what the heck does that mean? I can assume, I think I know what you're thinking about or what you mean by that. But if I just assume and I respond, I might respond to the wrong objection. So if I were your homeowner and I told you, based on the option you presented, that I need to think about it, what does that mean from a tech's perspective?
What does it mean to the tech?
Yeah. If you were the tech and I said, I need to think about it, Meredith, what would you think that would mean?
I haven't done something that the tech, have not done something right, because my hope is that I would have done all the things necessary to show the homeowner that I am the expert, that I can help you, that I know what's best for your home. And so if they have to think about it, then that makes me immediately think there's some piece of information that I haven't relayed, that I haven't shown my expertise around. There's a piece of this puzzle is missing, because otherwise then why would you need to think about it more?
Right. That's one version. What else? Give me a different one.
Okay. Maybe either financially they need to think about it, like how would we navigate things? Would we need to, get money from this account? Do we need to finance it? Do I need to talk to, my significant other about how we would navigate that? So maybe that could be a reason why we would need to think about how we're going to pay for this.
That's a big one. Yep. What else?
I knew you were going to say that. What do you say as the homeowner?
I need to think about it.
I need to think about it. I think you don't either. So I said, trust me as a tech. Financially, I'm not sure.
You said I need to talk to my wife.
Yep. Maybe I want to see what other options I have available to me from other companies, other places.
Yeah. That sounds like the Aruba. I need to do some research.
Yes.
Like these are 3, 4, 5 different things that could possibly mean. So when someone says, I need to think about it, for all of our techs out there, if you lead with curiosity, you might not know exactly what they need to think about. It could be, I jacked something up on the call. I didn't build enough trust. Maybe they're a researcher and they always do research and there's not a thing you can say on that call to change their mind.
Yep.
Maybe you upset them. Maybe it's something that you did. Maybe they do need to talk to their wife. Maybe they need to think about how they're going to move their finances around. Maybe the price is just too much and you got to work on that. Or they got to validate, maybe I didn't build enough value. There's so many things that could mean. And it's so often that we find ourselves just already know the answer. I know why they said that. It was me. I messed something up. Or they say, I need to talk to my spouse. Well, what does that mean? That could be the kind no.
Yeah.
It could be that they'd actually need to talk to their wife. I always ask the text, who in here makes $1,000 decision without their spouse, like without talking to them? And it's funny, like you have 10 people, 4 will raise their hand. I don't need her. I don't need him. And then I'm like, all right, $3,000, because sometimes that's our repairs. Who in here would do that? And it goes down to like 1 or 2. And then I'm like, all right, 5,000 or 10,000. Who could do it? And there's always one that's like, I'm doing it. And I'm like, you going to either get it later or you ain't got nobody and you just lying and we got bigger problems here, right? But it's like, it's so funny seeing, I know what I need to talk to my spouse means. But if I just ask, what do you mean? Like, hey, I need to think about it. Or, hey, I'm confused on this. Or if you even change complete scenario and somebody just says, this, I'm a little frustrated by that. And you're just like, oh, okay, well, yeah, well, we'll figure this thing out together. And it's like, what are they even frustrated about?
Yeah.
What do you mean? So I've been telling the text lately, and it kind of became a little bit of a joke. I'm like, if somebody just says something to you, don't assume you know what they mean. Ask, what do you mean? And just ask in a curious way, what do you mean? So earlier you said something about comfort was something for kids. Like, I need to find comfort or whatever. It could be, what do you mean by that? What did you mean by comfort? I don't know that I understand that fully. And there are so many things in this life that if you just said, like, what do you mean by that? That you would find that you probably are pretty far off the mark from what they actually mean or what the scenario actually is. So I think if we lead with, what do you mean? Or what is this? I don't think I want to make sure I fully understand that before we take action on things. I think you'll find that there are so many other things out there that we just have no clue of if we wouldn't have just taken the time.
Yeah. If there is one thing, I think I say this all the time when we're talking about conflict. If there is one thing I've learned from doing the podcast, from doing this research, from reading books, from all the things, it is that nobody is the same as me. Nobody thinks the same. Nobody has the same experiences. Not even my sister, who grew up in the same house with the same parents. We have different experiences. We have different backgrounds. We have all of these things that make us us. And I think so many people go through life thinking, well, surely Rob would see this situation and feel about it the exact same way that I do. Or, of course, because then when people don't behave the way that we think they should, because they think they should think just like I do, then we're like, what was that all about? I think that is one huge thing that I think plays into this, is that no one sees everything the way that you do. And just that understanding in and of itself should make you curious, because then those questions would come naturally. If I know nobody's seeing the same situation the way that I am, then of course, one of my first questions would be, how did you see that? What did that look like to you? That way I'm getting the other person's, maybe we did see it the same, but I don't know that until I ask. I think that kind of this, like, what did you mean? I think those are really good. I don't know what you would call them. Starter questions. I think that's one.
Soft start.
Yeah. Well, gentle startup.
Gentle startup. Yeah.
So I think that's something too for listeners, like just things you can start putting in your back pocket. One of them being, what did you mean by that? Or help me understand. Tell me more. Any of these kind of prompts that allow us to get the other person talking, get them talking, get them explaining their point of view. I think that it's just, those are the types of things we need to have in our toolkit to be able to come from a place of curiosity. If you don't have those things, like I find myself all the time in classes saying, can you say more about that? Tell me more about that. What did you mean by that? Say more. It's just, I feel like I say it so much now, it just happens. And I think that's where people have to get to a place with curiosity. You got to have something that you can just, it's like it's automatic almost. Because that's got to take the place of assuming and whatever you would say first after you have an interaction with someone. So I think I just said like 5 or 6 of them there in a row. And I could probably pull some more, but I think
those are good.
Yeah, I think that that's kind of where people, if you want to come from this place of curiosity, even if you think you know the answer, even if you know the answer, I still think you should say, tell me what you mean by that. Something so that you can just verify, are we on the same page, talking about the same thing, moving forward? And it gives you some insight into that person. That's another marble in the jar.
Yep. Yeah, I really like those. I actually wrote down automatic curiosity because I think that is a big nugget from today for anybody out there. If you're like, what can I take away from this, is just when somebody says something to you, just having that automatic curiosity. Don't assume you know, but having those statements or phrases that you can whip out, like, tell me more about that. I think I understand what you're saying. Can you explain more? Tell me more about that. Each one of those helps expand on where they're coming from. And I think you'll find that there is a lot more information out there that's on the surface that makes sense. And then there's a lot more information underneath the surface that you may have not come to that conclusion prior. But that automatic curiosity, don't assume that you know, but ask a few questions to make sure you do. And you might find that more times than not, at least that's for me, I'm like, I was way off.
Yeah.
And it's nice to know. A question got asked yesterday. We did an interview yesterday with one of our employees, and he asked a question to me, and I just responded. And then Shallon's in the back, and she says, I interpreted your question differently. Am I hearing you right? And you were asking this? And he's like, yeah, that's what I asked. And I was like, well, I would feel dumb. and I was like, I should have been like, if I'm hearing you correctly, this is what you're asking, which I used to do that more, and I need to get back to that more. But you'll find that even sometimes people ask you questions. You're like, I think I know what you're saying there. But it's okay to be like, am I hearing you right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Or, no, I was asking this. Perfect. Saves time, but then also the other person and you feel better about where you're going with it.
Feel heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I was just thinking, and this maybe is a challenge for listeners out there. I wonder what it would look like if today, maybe not every interaction that you have, because I'm not even sure that I could live up to that myself. I wonder what it would look like the first thing you say if someone comes up to you. Maybe this doesn't apply in all scenarios, but just roll with it, okay? That the first thing you responded with was a question. Like, so if someone approaches me today and says, I don't know, whatever they're asking about, the first thing out of my mouth is,
Meredith, I need help with my license class.
Oh, yeah, yes. That's a daily. Okay, what have you done so far? Like that, or what do you know? What do you know already? So I don't end up repeating myself. What do you know already? That type of thing, because then also that does give me some indication as to how much effort they've put in to figure some things out before they came to talk to me. Okay, so maybe it would work in lots of situations. Yeah. So maybe that's a way for people to practice, get some things in your toolkit that you can pull out automatically, but then maybe for, let's see, how many should we say? 2 interactions, because I'm going to try and do this myself. Maybe for 2 interactions today, try and make the first thing you say a question. Not a response, not a yes, not a no, not a I've got the answer, I'll tell you the answer. Because when someone comes and asks me about license, I know the answer. I know how to tell them how the process works, all of those things. But I think it would feel different if I asked a question first before I just jumped into my spiel.
I bet that would be really, really tough, but it'd be worth it.
Yeah. It would. I think it would really be eye-opening to people to see how much information am I missing out on? How much information am I not recognizing by not engaging with someone, by being curious?
Well, it changes the quality of conversation and the relationships. And I was even when I was going through writing this up, I was just thinking what old David Smith would say is, who cares, so what? Like, why talk about curiosity? How does it help? How does it help us day to day? And I mean, there were so many things, and I'm sure you came across the same stuff. Like, it helps out with cognitive function, almost like your muscles. If you're not using your muscles, it's the same thing for your brain. If you're not using your brain, it atrophies over time. And they were saying that older folks, as you kind of reach that stage of your life, like, it is important that you maintain curiosity and using brain function, cognitive ability, so your brain literally gets smaller. It atrophies over time, just like your muscles do. That's why they're like, as you get older, bone health and muscle health is really important to make sure you stay injury free. So curiosity, they said, could help dramatically with just maintaining cognitive function. They said that there's a balance though. You can't go so far into curiosity to where your life becomes like highly unstable. Like, all right, I got to be curious and I got to keep my life spicy, as Shallon would say, and like just introduce left and right, change and just introduce too much, because it says in the study it's important that we have some form of stability, but interjecting some changes, opening the door. I'm not going to research too much when we go to Aruba. I'm just going to let it flow like that little bit, even though it feels anxiety ridden, it still is a good thing for you. I know over time I've been given a lot of opportunities to try new things and challenge myself. And while it was a little uneasy, it's now made me more okay with, all right, let's just figure this thing out. Don't have a choice. In the teaching realm, it's oftentimes, I have no idea what's going to happen. Alan said in that interview yesterday, we were just talking about how training goes sometimes. He's like, expected to get jacked up. It's going to happen. And literally in that meeting, something with technology just didn't go as the planned. And it's like, well, there you go. I said, Alan, you said it too early, man. And he's like, it was going to happen. So, and that's okay. So there's a balance to how much change that we should introduce. But even in this piece, what you were just talking about, when somebody comes up and asks you something or needs your help with something, that quality of relationship that you can build just by asking questions to understand the person. What did you mean by that? What was your favorite part? Like, people are talking about things that they enjoy. Well, how did you get into that? That sounds really interesting. Like, just take an extra couple minutes. The quality of relationship increases. You might learn something new, and that betters your life. But going back to the analogy with the river is, I think life gets so fast paced. It's like, I don't have time for that. I've got so much on my plate. And we blow past those moments and those opportunities to enrich our life some, but then we wonder why later it's like, oh, I didn't get to do everything that I wanted to in my life, or time's just flown by. I don't know what happened the last 6 months. And we find ourselves in that. You can be depressed, or have anxiety, or you can reverse a lot of those things with just slowing down and looking at the flower, taking time to just appreciate what's right there in front of you.
Yeah, something you said, I saw a lot of the same benefits that you just said I had on here as well. Another one that I thought was interesting was it boosts resilience by keeping us open to new possibilities. So, like when I read that, I kind of unpack that as, if I am curious, or if I make it a practice to be curious about things, then when things don't go right, I'm used to my mind being open instead of, oh, well, the computer doesn't work. Done. Can't do the class today. Everybody go home. It's like when your mind is kind of closed to how things have to go a certain way, then when something goes wrong, like you're kind of screwed, because your headspace is not in a place to be flexible enough to think like, okay, computer doesn't work. What am I going to do next? I think curiosity builds that in us, this ability to see things with an open mind, to ask questions, to know more. I think that then we become more able to navigate when things don't go well, because our brains are used to that. They're used to being welcoming to, like, oh, that's not something that I expected or that I knew about you or this situation. But I'm glad to know it now, and here's what I'm going to do about it. So I do think that is another thing. I did not quite link those things together. I don't think I linked being curious with helping you be more resilient and open-minded when things don't go your way. So it was funny. So Leah, she sprained her ankle pretty badly at her very first tumbling class this past weekend. And don't forget that we're leaving for Aruba on Sunday.
It'll be fun.
And that's right. She's in a boot on crutches. It's great. And so she was
That means you get to get on the plane first, right?
I know. She is a wheelchair, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Yep. I hope we get some like TSA pre-check, something.
That means you have to fly first class. Is that right? That's what you asked the lady at the front gate?
Leah did say, "Can I fly in first class without one of you guys?" I said,
"Of course you can, honey."
I said, "No, ma'am. If you need your mom up there with you." But she was laid up on the couch, got her foot up, icing it, whatever. And she said to Michael and I, she's like, "You guys are being so chill about this." And, about her hurting her ankle, whatever. And of course, Michael's like, well, "How did you want us to react?" And she's like, "I don't know. I just thought that you guys would be like, I don't know, a little bit more." She didn't say, I don't remember what word she used. It wasn't anxious. I don't think she would have used that word.
Panicky.
Yeah. Something like that about her being hurt and then us going, leaving for this trip. And I'm like, honey, what else are we going to do?
Where did she get that thought from?
I don't know. Maybe she expected our reaction to be different. But it made me think about this. And I do think that old Meredith, I do think that potentially old Meredith could have been a little bit more twisted up about this whole situation because you notice not part of my plan. But I go back to this resilience piece and I go back to, just being open to the possibilities. We're still going to, I don't care if I've got to carry you through the sand. We're still going to be there. We're still going to enjoy it. We're still going to make the most of it. Yeah. And I think I think part of that comes from being open to what the possibilities still are, even if it's not exactly how you thought it was going to go. Mm-hmm. So I think that when we talk about curiosity, I think it really does help open our minds to what all of the possibilities can be, even when things don't go quite the way you thought they would.
Yeah. That reminds me, I wrote down a couple statements that I came across that flows right into that. So when challenging moments arise and you don't always know the answer from that, like going from old Meredith to new Meredith, some of them were like, what is this moment calling from me? Like what is it asking from me from this? I can just react to it, or I can take a moment to say, well, what is it asking? Mm-hmm. Like what's going on? There's another one that's like when things pop up in your life that are challenging or hard, it says, where is life nudging me to look? Mm. And then another one is what thread is being woven here? Like every one of these experiences that we have, if you looked at them a little bit differently, I think the world around you starts to change. When I was with the plumbers, we've had a couple weeks talking about awareness. And I was offering to them some thoughts when it comes to how you envision the world and how you look at it. And I said that we are not in the world, we are observers of the world. And so are we at the helm, like conducting, or are we actually watching ourselves and controlling ourselves, conducting our life? Mm-hmm. So it's almost like a third person vantage point on things. So I think there's different levels of awareness of where we're at. And if you're not in the right spot, it's hard to ask these questions because car wreck happens in front of you. You're just rolling with it. And those are hard to not be in the moment. But even in, her rolling her ankle, it's like, I can actually see myself responding to that and being proud that I recognize that. But then even asking, what is this moment calling for me? What is life? Where is life nudging me to look? I wonder why she asked that question. Mm-hmm. Where would that come from? Was it a past experience, recent, or was it a long time ago? Mm-hmm. Or is that her expectations? Is that just more her influence versus ours? Like there's a lot to unpack even with that one statement, but I think it's really hard to recognize those in the moment. But if you can, man, life gets really, really interesting when you can see it different and knowing that I'm not in the world. I'm an observer of the world. I'm an observer of myself. It really expands a lot. So I think even in the small things that are happening right in front of us, a flower, like I would have missed that. Mm-hmm. I think I said this on one of the podcasts. This was probably last year. But there's little things that we will see only once and we'll never see again.
Oh, yeah.
And when we passed by, it was just so funny. It was random. We're driving to school. I look over and there's a patch of grass, like weeds, growing on a bridge. We're passing over the bridge and I look over and I just look at that. And it's a little patch of dirt that had just been blown over there. And then some weeds grew in it and it sprouted up. And I looked over and I said, Susie, this is random, but like there's a patch of grass, like weeds over there. Have you ever thought about like, I will probably never take the time to ever look over there and see that ever again. Like that'd be the only time I'll ever see that. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just recognizing that. And I'm like, I wonder how all that got there. Like, that's really interesting. And she's like, are you high right now? Like, what? Did you eat a gummy? Like, what happened? But like just being curious, there's so much more depth to life that is right in front of us, no different than looking at the flower like a kid would and realizing like that's an interesting thought. I'll never see that. That moment that you just had with her, even going into the depth of that is where did that come from?
Yeah.
Was that a me thing? Was that a her thing? Is it a both thing? Is that old Meredith? I don't know. But being curious, there's so much more that you'll pick up on that can enrich your life. And there are tons of like health benefits from it, but like, man, your life just gets better. There's no way you could be like depressed and be like, oh, I'm not going anywhere. I'm like, there's so much around you all the time if you choose to see it. And I think that's the big benefit of curiosity is there's so much there if you choose to see it.
Yeah.
And I really liked what you said earlier. I don't know if you did it on purpose, but the automatic curiosity, I really, really like that. And just the questions. People say something to you or you see something and having automatic curiosity. I think there's a lot to unpack with that, but that was a big one for me today.
Yeah. I don't even think I told Corey this, but going back to your patch of grass on the bridge, I've been trying when I've been walking Indy, our dog. I don't take my headphones. I don't listen to anything anymore. I take my phone, obviously, in case somebody has an emergency at my house. But I just walk the dog. And so lately, when I've been walking her on the weekends, when we go down some of the paths in our neighborhood, there's this way that the sun is kind of coming through the trees. It's kind of around like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. And of course, the trees, the leaves have just been beautiful. The colors of the leaves have been so beautiful. And so I've been finding myself stopping and taking pictures. Corey would be so proud. But I remember.
Art is everywhere.
I know. I feel like I remember, and maybe I made this up in my head. Corey will have to tell me later, but as I was trying to figure out how to take the picture, and I feel like I remember Corey saying, what do you want people to see? And so it's like what stands out to me is how the light is coming through the trees at this moment. And so it's funny, like when I started looking for that. I started moving myself from one place to another, moving my phone up or down to where I could capture what it was that I want people to see in this picture. Now, let's be clear, that picture's still on my phone. I've done nothing with it. But it made me stop in that moment and even to be curious about how can I take the right picture right now that will capture what I want people to see. And so I think going back to the weeds on the bridge and the side of the road, I feel like if I was just like, doing my walk and listening to my podcast or my book or whatever, I don't know that I would have even stopped to think about that or to look at that or to be curious about, okay, Corey told me that I could do this. Anybody can do it. So I'm going to try.
Yeah.
How could I navigate this or figure this out?
Yeah.
So I do think it does. It goes back to being aware and making the choice to kind of look for things like that will push you in that different direction.
Yeah.
So I think that that's an important thing for people too to take away is like to just step back. And for me, it's when I'm on a walk and I'm really just kind of looking and noticing all the things around me. That doesn't have to be what it is for everybody, but I think it's just making the choice to start looking and noticing, and then being curious about what you see.
Yeah,
I love these questions about what's the world asking of me right now. I don't know if that's exactly what you said, or what thread am I trying to weave? Is the world asking me to weave at this moment? Ooh, boy, that's deep. Like I think about with Leah's question, I did have the thought in my mind, why would she ask that? Like, have I like flipped my SHIT before and now she thinks that's what's going to happen every single time there's a blip? That's possible. I probably have done that in the past, 100%. So maybe that's where that's coming from. So then if I'm asking myself, what thread is the world trying to help me weave right now? It would be a different thread for her to see a different side of me.
Yeah.
So that she can know that we don't have to lose our ish every time something goes off plan. We can work through it. We can navigate it. Maybe that's what the world's asking of me right now. But I think those questions, that's being real curious.
Yeah. I'll close with this thought for you because I'm seeing I see a thread, at least from my seat in the stadium, but she's asking you that question and you actually ask, like you're asking yourself, I wonder where that came from. But then even having the seat in the stadium to say that I'm proud of myself for actually asking that. Like I can see that this is a moment of growth for me. And knowing that like I'm continually getting better, even though I'm in the moment, but I'm actually outside of it seeing it.
Yep.
And I think that curiosity is beautiful. And if you hadn't had that curiosity, you would have never come to that conclusion in the first place.
Yep.
Curiosity is one of those things like it is deep and there is so much to it and it can make the most mundane, chill thing seem vibrant and change. Just no different than Corey's statement from his podcast to you actually like his statement changed you. So much so that a year and some change later, you're now thinking differently of how you take pictures, and that picture alone changes you. Even though your little pup is like, can I please use the bathroom right now? And you're like, give me a moment.
I'm trying to capture the light.
I'm trying to capture. So, but this was a good topic today.
Yeah.
I love this one.
Yeah, I really like it when we bring things like this to people. I do think this kind of also falls in the category of like, we could go our entire lives without really thinking about how to be more curious. It makes me think, I think we've talked of some other things like this before, where it's just like it happens every day. But we're just, sometimes it just gets lost in the sauce. And so I think it's really good to kind of bring those things to people's mind, because I think we could really go our whole lives without thinking about how being more curious could change us.
Yeah. Hopefully today's the first day.
I know.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Okay, guys, thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this podcast. We will see you again in 2 weeks. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time, peace, love, and easy does it.
Hey, appreciate y'all.